Hi, this is Kate from Izzalicious Designs. Today we're going to start work on Paddington Bear, and he has a little detachable hat. I will do the hat as a separate little video because otherwise it's going to take 100 hours. It's going to take 100 hours anyway, but there we go. So the hat and the briefcase I will do separately, but we are going to get started with our little bear. So what you're going to need, I'm not going to use the dark brown colour at this time. I'm using Loom-less brand, and it's a light coffee, and I think that actually looks a little better for him. But again, you can use whatever brown you like for his body. I just feel that's probably a little better. I'm using Rainbow Loom Ocean Blue for his coat. I'm using Rainbow Loom Red for his hat. Some black bands for his nose and buttons, and I'm also going to use, I'm using the little safety toy beads for his eyes, but you can actually use black bands as well. This one is with black bands, as you can see, and I'm using skin tone to make his little briefcase, and brown for the edging of that. So they're the colours I'm going to use. It is a hook design. We are going to use the loom to make a few pieces of it, the briefcase and also the magic rings, just because I feel that it looks easier for me to show you, to visualize how to do the magic ring using a loom. So we're going to get started. I'm going to use my loom upside down so that I have the peg, the open part of the peg facing away from me to do the magic ring. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit clearer what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to use these light coffee. Now I have to say, I really do wish that we had different options from Rainbow Loom for skin tone, earth tone, you know, that kind of stuff, but we just don't. So we have to make do by using other brands, and unfortunately these are not my favourite brand at all, but it's the colour that I wanted. Single band, wrap it around your peg twice, which gives you 3 little loops, and then we're going to do 6 in this little magic ring. So get 6 bands ready, and you push your hook through like this. Now let me make a little statement here. If you haven't looked at my video, which is called Loomigurumi for Beginners, or Beginner's Guide to Loomigurumi, please do so. Otherwise this video is going to be utter gibberish to you. That little video will teach you the stitches, will teach you how to do a magic ring a lot slower and clearer than what I'm going to be doing now, okay? While I will be showing you what to do now, I'm going to take the approach that you have at least done 1 or 2 projects with your hook only and are familiar with the stitches. So, magic ring, pull your band through, one over the other in a slip knot, and budge it round. We're going to do that for all 6 of these bands. Keep that loop on your hook, push back down, bring it through, one over the other. You now have 2 little slip knots. Join them together. Push around. And push around. Now we'll take this off our loom. We don't need it for the minute. And we are going to spread these little bands around the loop, the little circle that we've made, so it looks like a circle and not a semicircle. Now the other thing you're going to use is a stitch marker. If you don't have a stitch marker like this, you can use a paper clip, you can use C-clip, an S-clip, whatever you happen to have, it will work, okay? Now what we're going to do, if you count, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is our 6th stitch on our hook. We're going to push our hook through the first stitch right here. I'm going to try and make it so that you can see exactly what I'm doing, and let's not make ourselves seasick. Take a single band, draw it through, reclaim, one over the other and join, and this is where we're going to put our stitch marker, because this indicates where the beginning is and where the end is of each round. As you go around, you're doing what they call a round. All right, we're going to be doing an increase in each of these stitches, because that's going to then take it from 6 stitches to 12 stitches. Okay, so it's going to be bigger. So that was our first one in this little stitch. We're going to go back through that first stitch and do another single crochet. So 2 single crochets in the same stitch is called an increase, and on your crochet patterns they usually have a legend at the front which tells you what all the abbreviations mean, and it can be a bit confusing because there's English crochet terms and there's American crochet terms, and sometimes they're not the same. So INC will normally mean increase, or 2 single crochets, which is SC, in the same stitch, ST. Alright. So I'm doing 2 in each of these stitches. And the first one, and back through again for a second. First one, and second. First one, oops, let's do that again. First one and second. And you've got them all joined, and if you count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. Okay, I don't normally count. I figure these are quite forgiving in loom bands, and it's my design. I'm not following somebody else's design, so basically it is how it is. It's they work as long as you're following the same stitches as me. Alright, our next one is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase, our next round. So let's go through that first stitch again. Here it is as our first stitch. We're going to do a single crochet, and we're going to move our stitch marker so that it sits on that as our new first stitch, like that. Now we're going to do an increase, because we're doing single crochet, increase, all the way around. So increase, if you remember, is 2 single crochets in that same stitch. And then we do a single crochet. And then 2. And then 1. Make sure you go through both loops. And then 2. And 1. Two. One. Two. One. and 2. We're back at the beginning, so do a single crochet through that first stitch, and move your stitch marker so that that is now the beginning spot again. Alright, so now what we're going to do is 4 rounds, okay, of single crochet only. So you're going to go through the first stitch and do a single crochet. Oops, let's try that again. Single crochet, and each stitch is just going to be a single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, single crochet. This is round number 1 of our 4. What I like to do also is have a little pile here of bands, so I've got 3 more to do, so I'm going to have 3 little bands sitting here, and as I start my next round I will take one from that pile. So if you don't have pencil and paper handy, you can still count what round you're on. Now this is a big project, so please be prepared for that. Again, I have not counted the bands. When people give me the count of how many bands is in a project, I put it in the description of the video, and thankfully some people are very good about counting bands. I'm atrocious at it. I sit here and I make my little figures, and Izzy sees them and grabs them off me, and she'd absolutely kill me if I even contemplated taking one apart. So thankfully I have a following of people that do like to count bands for me, and you'll find their name and the information, as I said, in the description of the video. Feel free to count them. If you're the first one that gives me the count, your name and the count will be in the description. Very rarely do I go through more than 2 bags of anything in a project though. So I think probably the only time I did was like the Wonder Woman and Princess Crown and Batman headband. I might have gone through more than 1 packet, and also the Australia flag. That would have taken more than 2 bags. I'm on my next round. I'm just going to zoom out a bit, we're a little bit close. So there we go. So now I'm going to take one from this little pile. I now know that I'm on round 3. I have 2 more rounds to go. I'm at the beginning, so I'm going to go from this pile again, move my stitch marker, and off we toddle for the next round. I haven't done some of these huge projects. I'm very conscious of the fact that, you know, these things do take a lot of bands. So my little amigurumi projects have been just that. They're little stuffed animals, because the huge ones take an enormous amount of product to make. That being said, I probably will venture out and do something of a larger scale at some stage with you all. Back to the beginning. I'm going to use my last band from that little pile, so I know that this is round 4. Move my stitch marker, It's a very blustery day outside, and I keep on having to look outside the window to make sure that my my dustbin, my trash can, has not blown over. My husband, we had this almighty crash this morning, and my husband was out there at 5 o'clock this morning picking up the rubbish before it was swept down the street, because the winds were just so high that it blew everybody's rubbish bins over, trash cans. Isn't it funny how many words we have for the same thing? In America it's trash can, in Australia it's rubbish bin, and in England it's dustbin. Okay, I'm back to the beginning. Do a single crochet, and I'm going to move my stitch marker here. I'm just going to take my hook out and just gently make sure that everything is fine, and it is. Now that's the back side of what I'm making here, and if we squeeze this together, there's my, as you can see, there's my magic ring that we started with. Now we're going to do little ears on him, and to start his ears I'm going to take a single band. I'm going to pop this down for a second. Single band, I'm going to stretch it figure 8, loop it on myself, on my fingers like that, and I'm going to, this is my magic ring here, I'm missing this first loop here, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to pull this through and reclaim, okay, like that. Single band, I'm going to pull through, reclaim, one over the other like that. I'm going to go back through. I'm going to do this 6 times, so that was once, this is number 2, and each time I'm going to try and make sure that they're even. I'm going to loop it over and join, back through again, and you're basically doing a magic ring on the top of his head. 1 over, that was 3, back through again, this is 4, whoa, pulled it right through. Five, through one more time. These are all curling up on me, I hate it when they do that. Six. I'm going to hold on to that little loop. I'm just going to spread these around so that they look a bit even. Okay. Now, this little loop that we finished with here, I'm actually going to, there's my middle ring, the ring that I started with. I'm going to poke my hook through this one next to it, pull that loop through. I'm going to twist this inside out so you can see what I'm doing. There's my little loop here. I'm going to grab a couple of bands next to it, and I'm going to tie a slip knot. I'm going to take a single band, if I can untwist that, pull it through, and I'm going to tie a little slip knot just here. These bands are very difficult to work with. There we go, little slip knot right there. And that is going to be my first ear. Alright, keep that stitch marker to the back because we've got to do another one right here. If you remember, this is our magic ring. We skipped this first one, so we went from here to here. Single, figure 8, so it was looped on itself, pulled it through and reclaim. Now, as you can see, I'm doing it backwards this way. I'm doing, this is the back, so I have the back facing me. That's so again that I finish at the top and can move the band in. So we're going to pull 6 bands through one at a time. One, back through. Two, three, four, five, and 6. There's my loop, and remember, spread these out so that they're even. And this loop, there's our magic ring here, but we're going to poke our hook through and go down this one, the second one, the one next to it, poke it through, pull it around the other way, find a couple of bands to tie it into, and do a little slip knot like so. And there you have some little ears on his head. Spread them out so that they're evenly spaced. Okay, so there are his little ears on top of his head. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further down. We're going to do a single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, so that's 3 single crochets followed by a decrease. Alright, so I'm going to do that next. So put my hook back through. So a single crochet, a single crochet, a third single crochet, and then a decrease. Do you remember how to do those? Push your hook through that next stitch and then through the front of the stitch next to it. Grab your band, pull through. Whoops, let's try it again. Pull through both of them, make sure it's even, one over the other, and join. And then again, 3 single crochets. There's number 1, 2, 3, and through the next stitch and the one next to it. Pull to make sure it's even, one over the other. Then we have 3 more again. 1, 2, 3, 4, make sure it's even, 1, 2, and the last one here is 3, and I'm going to move my stitch marker to this. Take my hook out, I'm going to just gently stretch, okay, just stretch it into shape a bit. So this is the head. It's beginning to form, as you can see. Now our next round, and I should mention, if you want to do eyes, I would probably do them, I'd wait for the whole shape of the head first and then the snout, so that you can approximate where you want the eyes. I think that looks better. That's why I haven't put them on just yet. So let's do our next round. Our next round is just going to be single crochet all the way around. Okay, so just do a single crochet, back to the beginning, single crochet, move my stitch marker, take my hook out. I'm just going to gently stretch it into shape. Alright, so that is my little face for my little guy. Now, my next round is going to be the blue. Okay, I am going to do that because I want to be able to see exactly where the face is going to be. So in this next round we do a single crochet followed by an increase. That's the pattern. So we've done a single crochet, so we're going to do an increase in the next stitch. Now what I'm going to do is do my first increase as a slip stitch because I feel that it gives a nicer transition between the colours. So pull it through your stitch, but then add your loop to it, okay, like that. And then let's go back through and do our second single crochet, okay, like that. And now we do a single, and an increase. A single, and an increase. Oops. Single, increase. Single, increase. Single, increase. Oops, runaway band. Single, increase, single, and we will finish on an increase. One, and back through that same stitch, and I'm going to move my stitch marker to this new band here. Alright, I'm going to take my hook out, just gently stretch around. This is the back, which makes this the front. Okay, so for the front, for his snout, I'm going to try and do his snout a little differently. You're going to have to visualize around here. Now, as I said, I'm using beads for his eyes. You don't have to. You can use the bands. Take a single band, wrap it once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. Slide onto the brown band. And you put one end of your loop one side, grab the other side through a new spot, and voila, you have placed a bead. You just tie it in a knot at the back here, okay, or you do a slip knot. I prefer to just tie it in a knot. Okay, so that's how you could do with beads. If bands with beads, I'm just going to, and I've already put the backing on it, but because I'm using bands, I can just, and not crochet, I can just pop this through where I want the eyes to be, and you can sort of have a look and say, maybe I need it further apart, maybe I need it closer, but I'm going to put mine there for the minute. Now what we have to do is visualize a circle for the snout. I'm going to take a band, okay, and I'm going to start here, okay, on this little pair here, right there. I'm going to take a single band, I'm going to draw it through, and put one over the other, and I'm going to go around in a circle, just collecting a couple of bands. Alright, so right here I might go for these two, draw it through, one over the other, join together. Now I'm going to go here. I know this is a bit of an odd way of doing it, but there we go. One over the other, join together. I'm moving down here. One over the other. So I'm just sort of trying to visualize a little circle for his snout. And obviously you can, if you feel that one is wrong, you say, oh no, I need to go back and do that one differently. Maybe here for this one. Here. And that was my first one there, so I'm going to back up here, and this will be my last one. Okay, so I have this little round here that I've made with bands. I'm now going to go through the first one that I made. I can see the two loops here. Right, with a single band I'm going to do a single crochet. Pull it through, reclaim, one over the other, and join. I'm going to do a single crochet in the next one. Here we are. Pull through and rejoin. So I'm building up from this little base that we just made a little snout. Now, if you just want to do a magic ring and join it on, that's completely up to you. And you know how to do that from the panda and also from Winnie the Pooh, if you prefer to do that particular snout. But this is another option. And I'm back. That was that one. I'm back to the beginning here. This is my last one. Okay, so this has been built up like a little snout. That's my last band here. Okay, now what I'm going to do, take my hook out, I'm just going to hold that there. I need 2 black bands. Wrap once, twice, 3 times and 4 times, and I'm going to do the same again. Once, twice, 3 times and 4 times. I'm going to slide those onto the brown bands. Like that. Now, I want these to be on the inside. Okay, so it's like that. I have the loop on my hook. I'm going to go through the side bit of his nose, put my little loop on like this. I'm going to spread this out, pop that through like this. Alright, so that's secure in that spot there. I'm going to go through the bottom, a loop through the bottom, and I'm going to pull it through. Okay, then I'm going to keep it on my hook. There's the opposite side from where we want this to go. I'm going to grab this, pull it through, and this is where I have to tie off. Alright, let's take a single band and go through the 2 loops there, and we're going to tie off in a slip knot. That's our little nose. This tie off band, you're going to go through the back of the face into the nose area, and you're going to pull it through like that. It's not going to break. Okay, so that is how I made his little snout. Okay, if you can see that tie off band, just again tweak it so that it's sitting good. There we go. So that's another way of doing a snout, but if you don't like that, you can always just do the magic ring and pop it on like we did with Pooh Bear. Okay, so we have his face like that, and I'm quite happy with that. Now what we're going to do, we did our single crochet and our increase. We're now going to do a round of single crochet. Back to the first, and move your stitch marker. Okay, we're going to do another round of single crochet. to the beginning. So I'm going to do one more round of single crochet. Get ready to move the stitch marker. To here. Now, moving around, still single crochet. I'm going to line up in the middle here where we want our first button, and I think it will be here. So I'm going to push my hook through. I'm going to take my first black band, wrap it once, twice, 3 times, slide it onto a blue, pull back through that loop, reclaim one over the other and join in. Now I'm going to do the brown duffel button, and to do that I've tied a knot in the brown band in the center. There's a very easy way of tying a knot, and I'll show you quickly how to do it. I'll just use a blue band. What you can do, take a black band of your color choice. Well, we'll be using brown. You're going to put it on 2 pegs and you're going to do a figure 8 like that. Okay, you're going to then keep hold of one end and do another figure 8 out of the loom. Okay, take that bit that you've stretched and place it back over your loom. So you have it like this. You've got 2 loops on your loom. The bottom one has the figure 8 on it, the top one does not. Using a hook, grab the first part of the figure 8 and move it up and over, and then do the same to the second part of the figure 8, up and over, and just move that into the middle of the band. Take it off your loom, and there you have a little knot in the center of your band. So easy. Alright, so that's what we're going to do with our brown band. So take your hook, place it through the next stitch. You're going to put one of your little brown bands that you've tied a knot in the middle on your hook. Slide a blue band onto your hook and move that brown band over. Draw it through, reclaim, up and over and join. So there's the little brown band in the center here. Okay, then we're going to do another black band the other side of it. So push your hook through, black band, wrap once, twice and 3 times, slide onto a blue, draw it through, reclaim, one over the other and join. That's also how you can do your eyes, okay, if you don't have beads. Then we will continue with our single crochet until we're back at our stitch marker. Back to the stitch marker, go through and do a single crochet. Oops. Move your stitch marker to the new position. Let's gently stretch things out. Okay, so there's our first set of buttons. Now the other thing that we need to do is give him his collar to his coat. So before we go any further, let's work out where we want the collar, and I'm going to say one here and one here. I'm going to go through these 2 loops here and draw back a blue band and do a slip knot. I'm going to do the same here, except there's only 2 because it was a single. We've got a single crochet and an increase in this row, in this round. So join it together, and then there's 2 here, so go through, pull it through, and this is setting a base to do the collar. Work your way around. This is where I'm going to stop for this I'm not going to go further around. So do this, like so. I'm going to take my hook out, move it through the other side, and now what I'm going to go through, if you have a look here, when you push your hook through here, you can see that there's 2 loops. Alright, forget the loop that is on your hook, but the stitch that you push your hook through, there's the front loop and there's the back loop. We're going through just that first loop, okay, and we're going to do a single crochet in it, just the first loop. Both of them, that's just one. Oops. Just through the loop that is closest to the head of the bear. Now, I'm back at the front here. If I don't include this one, it's going to look odd, so I have to include this one as well. And rather than do a slip stitch, rather than do a single crochet, which is like this, well actually I will do a single crochet. A single crochet, take my hook out, go through this loop here that you can see, and drag that end loop down. I'm not going to pull it tight because I don't want it to be too tight. I'm going to loop through another little loop that's down under here and tie this off in a slip knot so it is secured. And that's how his little collar is done. So that's his collar, okay, all the way around. And now we're back to doing single crochets around. back at the beginning, single crochet, move my stitch marker. That was 1. Let's do another one. This is number 2. Move your stitch marker. This is the 3rd round. move your stitch marker. Now it's on this one that we're going to do the buttons again. Make sure you have your brown band knotted in the center. So go through your stitch, black band, wrap once, twice, 3 times, slide onto the blue, draw back through, reclaim, one over the other, join. Through the next stitch, add the 2 little loops for your brown band, slide onto a blue band, and then the black again, 1, 2, 3, so there we go. We've added our next button. Let's continue with our single crochet around. Oops, come back here. And back to the beginning with a single crochet and move your stitch marker. We're now going to do, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more rounds of single crochet. Okay, so I'm going to catch you back when we have both done 6 more rounds of single crochet. So I have finished my further 6th round, and this is where I finished. What I'm going to do is go through the inside loop here and also one down here, and I'm just going to tie a slip knot. So I'm going to go through those 2, go through the loop that is on my stitch marker and tie it off in a slip knot. The reason I've done it like that is so that the slip knot appears on the inside of the coat rather than sticking out. And I'm just going to turn this inside out and hide it behind some of these bands that I have inside the coat. Okay, like this, draw it back through. Sure, I can draw it back a little further. There we go. Just so that it is hidden and going to keep out of our way. Now, so that's basically that for this bit for the moment. So let's make the second arm. We're going to take a single of the coffee colour, wrap it once and twice, and we're going to use 6 of these little bands to make the magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Take it off your loom. The loom can go over to one side. We don't need it just yet. Spread these out so that they are evenly spaced, and you're going to go through that first one, and we're just going to do single crochets. We're not doing an increase, just single crochet all the way around, but mark this first one. So that's the first one. Go to the next stitch. This is your second one. Third one. Fourth one. Fifth. And this will be our 6th. Then we move to blue. So go through the first one again, and we'll move to the blue bands, and we'll move our stitch marker to this particular one, and we'll do a round again, just single crochet in blue. The beginning, move your stitch marker. Now we are going to do, and let's count how many rounds we have. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So that was number 1. Let's keep going. Beginning, move your stitch marker. Let's do round 3. The beginning. Oops, see that properly. Sometimes you just need to stretch it out a little bit just to see where the stitches are. There we go. Move the stitch marker. Drop everything. There we are. I'm going to spread this out so I can see where my stitches are. This is round 4. Move the stitch marker. Back to the beginning, make sure we're the right length. We are. So pull your hook through and do a slip stitch. Tighten a knot, pull this out a bit, put your hook in just to spread it around. Now we need a tiny bit of stuffing to go in here, not much at all. I think this would even be too much, so let's try about half of that. So I'm back, sorry about that, the phone was ringing. I have stuffed my little arm. As you can see, there is a tiny bit of stuffing in there, not much, you don't need much. We're now going to put our anchor bands on. Okay, so I have my tie-off band there. I'm just going to go through and take a single band and do some little anchor bands like this, just through the stitches at the top of the arm. And they're just little slip knots, and this is what we're going to use to attach them to his little jacket. If I can find the right spot to put my hook through, which would be handy. I'm going to do one more here. How many have I got on here? 6. So I'll do 6 here. Like so. Now, the way I'm going to angle this is I want it to be in the row underneath where the collar is. So the collar is here. Alright, this is the collar. So I'm going to have it going through these holes here at the collar, and I'm going to try and marry it up so that I start here in line with the ear. So I'm going to push my hook from the inside out like that. I'm going to grab 2 bands that are close to each other, so like this, and I'm going to pull them through. Okay, I'm then going to go through the next hole. I've kept those bands on my hook inside. They're on here. Okay, I'm going to grab the next 2. Now I want to make sure that I'm grabbing 2 that are opposite each other. So these 2 are there, so that means I grab these 2. These 2 are the ones. Pull them through, go through the next one and grab the last 2. So all of my 6 bands are inside and they're on my hook, we hope. I can see 4 of them. Let's make sure. There's the other 2 here. I'm going to pop them on my hook. Now, I'm afraid there was nothing fancy that I did about attaching all of these together. You could sort of take these over like this, have 2 on, put 2 over, and put 2 over like that and tie off. But I actually found that it was kind of loose, but it does work. So if that's the easiest way for you to do it, that's absolutely fine. And then all you would do, it's actually worked quite well for that one, all you would do, see how you've looped them over and over, find a spot over here so that this is taut. You don't want this to be loose. So find a spot over here, grab a single band, pull it through the loops there, and then attach and tie a slip knot, nice tight one. And then if we turn him inside out again, that's, yeah, you see how it's loose? If you don't mind that, that's fine. It does allow for his arm to sit down instead of being upright. So, I mean, it does work, but be aware that it's not stitched real tight. Okay? If you want it tighter, the trick will be, and let's undo this. Of course I did it nice and tight. There we go. It's all about options. Well, it's all about the base, but options too. So undo these 6. If you want it tight, the easiest and quickest way to do it is to take 2 from here. So you've got 1 this side, 1 that side, leave the other 2 over here, and you're just going to tie a knot like that. Take the other 2 that are from the other side of it, and again tie a knot, and then the other 2 from the other side. All right, you'll grab 1 and then grab 1 from the middle pair here, and again tie a knot, and then grab your second one from that side, and then the other one from the other side, the middle, and the same, tie a knot. Bit of knot tying, but it comes in a bit tighter. The arm will stick up a bit more, but as you can see, there's less looseness in the bands, and I think I do prefer that way. It feels a little bit more secure to me, but you have both options. So let's do the other side again. We're going to come down in line with the ear. So we missed that first one, which is this one here. We're in line with the ear, which is probably about here. It's up to you where you do it. Marry these up so that you've got 2, 2 and 2. Pull the first 2 through and keep them on your hook. Pull them through, and I have not kept them on my hook, so let's go back and do that again. One and 2, there we go, and there's my next spot here. I need the center 2, 1 and 2, pull through. Here's my third one here, grab those last 2 and pull through. Let's hope I have 6 bands. Again, I've got 4, that's funny. Twist it inside out. There's my bands here. So you're going to take your hook out, spread them out so that they're even. You're going to take 1 from the center and 1 from the left. Tie in a knot. Take the other 2, the opposite 2 there, and we'll tie these 2 in a knot. And then the last 2 that are here, take 1, grab another band from the center. Oops, the center, there we go. Tie in a knot. And the last one, tie in a knot. Okay, let's turn him around. He does look like he's jumping for joy a bit. Alright, so there's his little arms on him. We now have to do his bottom here. And so what we're going to do, turn this, flip this around, and at about the third row. So we're going to count down here. We've got 1, 2 and 3. And I'm going to start from the back. So this one's 1, 2 and 3. I'm going to poke my hook through 2 of the little bands that are like that. And I'm going to use brown for this. Okay. And we're going to again make a border to build on with brown. So we're going to go through and do a slip knot like that, and then we'll go to the next 2 and we're going to work our way around our little Paddington bear, building our border of brown to do his bottom and his legs. Now you'll notice that by going through those 2 little bands, it's not going through on the other side, and that's what we don't want. We don't want to be able to see the brown, so that's why I'm just going through these 2 little loops here. Let me zoom in so you can see these 2 little loops here, and pull your brown through, reclaim like this. Here's our next 2. Poke your hook in. Now the thing to be aware of is that we have done a spiral, so at one point you are going to be aware that it's spiraling into the next round. So just be aware of that as you go around. You want it to all be even. This will take you a little while. Oops. To say, you guys haven't been the most patient about things. My Dalek people are waiting so patiently and they never harass me, and I have felt rather harassed by dear old Paddington. I loom and do tutorials when my little one is not here, when she's at school, and today is a Saturday and my husband very kindly has taken her out to play, and I'm missing out on that because I've felt that people have been hounding me to get this done. So not real happy about that. I don't like to usually do tutorials on the weekend. I like to spend time with my little girl. So make sure, this is I think where I have the 3, where the 1, 2, 3, so I want to stay here. So I'm going to push over to here. That's where the join is for it to become a different round, and we want to keep it on round 3. I should also probably make you aware that even though these videos might say they're only 2 hours long, this took me a lot of Thursday to record, a lot of Friday to record, and I'm now still recording on Saturday. I still haven't edited it or rendered it or uploaded it. These things can take a long time. Sometimes even uploading it to YouTube can take a whole day. nearly back at the beginning here. Just going through those two little loops. Oops. And now I'm back here. Now what I'm going to do is go through these two little loops here and do a single crochet, just like that. And I'm going to put my stitch marker on here. Now I'm going to flip it over the other way just to show you. See, you cannot see where the brown has bled through. It hasn't bled through to the coat at all. So this is going to be what we're working on, this little area here. We're still going to have it flipped over this way. Okay, and what we're going to do, as you can see, I've done it on this one here. Alright, we're going to make the bottom of him solid like this. Okay, and we're going to do that by doing decreases. So put your hook through your loop, and what we're going to do is go through 1 and 2 and do a decrease. Okay, we'll do 1 and 2 and we'll flick it. We had a conversation about this in one of my groups today. Do your bands flick everywhere? Yes, yes mine do. And we'll follow that by a single crochet. And then we'll do another decrease. 1 and 2. And I pull them just a little bit to try and even them up so that they're not pulling too tightly. And we'll do a single crochet. I'm going to zoom out a bit because we're a bit big and I don't want to hit the camera. So we did a single crochet. Now we need to do another decrease. Even it up a bit. And a single crochet. Decrease. Boop. And a single crochet. And decrease. And a single crochet. Decrease. And a single crochet. Decrease. Oops, let's try that again. Single crochet. And a decrease. finish on a single crochet. Move your stitch marker. Now, it's up to you when you decide you want to stuff him. I think that's probably a very good size hole to try and get stuffing through. So I'm going to clip my stitch marker up here as well so I don't get in its way, and I'm going to grab my polyfill stuffing. So this is it that I use, the polyfill 100% stuffing for toys and whatnot. Again, if you remember, the trick is not to overstuff. Yes, you need to push this down into his head because we have not stuffed his head as yet. But if you stuff it too much, you will find that the stitches that you've made will spread open and you will see stuffing coming through them, and it really is not a particularly good look. So stuff him. Someone made a really good point the other day. They said they were dreaming in loom bands. I have done that too. So let's stuff our little dude. Make sure his head is stuffed enough. I think it is. Let's make sure his bottom is stuffed enough. There's a fine line between overstuffing and not having enough stuffing. I think that's probably enough. Let's get rid of this. Get the fibres off my desk. I'm still going to twist this over like that. Just flip it over a bit. And we're still going to be doing decreases. I'm going to undo this. But basically now what we're doing is decreasing all the way. Okay, so I don't really need a stitch marker because I know I'm just going to keep decreasing till this hole is complete. To do that, I'm just going to go through, and I'm not actually going to do single crochets anymore. I'm just going to do decreases. Oopsie, make sure I don't lose that. I'll do one more here. And tie off with a slip knot. Go through both of those. Drag through and tie off. Now all I'm going to do with that slip knot is just, I can poke it through, poke my hook through, grab the end of that with my hook and pull back. So for his legs we're going to do things a little bit different. They're going to be very short, stubby little legs. Okay, take your loom and a single band, wrap it around once and twice, and we're going to do a magic ring with 8. So pop your hook down, drag back 1, and move it around. 2, join them together and move it around. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Take it off your loom. Move these around so that they're evenly spaced around. Dig your hook through the first stitch, and we're doing a single crochet, just one, and we're going to put a stitch marker on this particular stitch. If I can find my stitch marker, oh, here we go. Right there. Now I'm going to do single crochet all the way around in each stitch. I'm going to do it 5 times. There's 1, 2, So that's our first round. Back through the first stitch, single crochet, move your stitch marker to place on that stitch. You have 4 more to do. I'm going to put 4 little bands here, or 3 because I'm going to have 1 in my hand. Okay, that's going to indicate that I'm on this particular round. Saves having to write it down on a piece of paper. So I'm on my new round, hook through the first stitch, grab one from this pile, pull it through, do my single crochet and attach my stitch marker to it. And let's go round again. Oops, just 1 band. Back to the beginning, grab one from here. And we'll do our last one. Oops. With a stitch marker. And we'll tie off, and we're going to tie off in a loose slip knot, okay, because we're going to use that again as an anchor. So pop a loose slip knot there, not loose enough that it's going to fall apart. And now what we're going to do is just go through and do loose little slip knots as anchor bands, like this, just in every other stitch. So I have 4 little anchor bands there, do you see them? Like so. There's my 4 anchor bands. Okay, alright, now we have to sort out how we're going to anchor them to his bottom. You're going to do 2 of those, by the way. So with your little legs, it's completely up to you if you decide to put a tiny bit of stuffing in, but if you do, it should only be a very, very small amount. These are tiny little legs, and you don't want them to be overstuffed. I can see right now that that's probably enough stuffing for both of them. So just put a tiny bit of stuffing, making sure that you don't lose your anchor bands. And then the other one. Sometimes it helps to use the back of your hook to push things in. Like so. So I have my anchor bands around. I have stuffing, or a tiny bit of stuffing in each of them. I'm going to flip my lid. I'm going to flip my jacket up, and these are going to be placed here. Now I think probably the hardest part is to always attach the legs on the bottom and stuff like that. So what I've gone ahead and done, I've put anchor bands on every band. So I've got, on every loop I should say, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've actually got 7, and the reason I've got 7 instead of 8 is because of the first stitch. It sort of overlaps a bit. So what we're going to do, you're going to sort of cut, you're visually going to cut your bear in half. So you've got one leg this side, one leg this side, and you have to kind of sew the leg on here in the middle of this side. So with that in mind, let's make sure that we're not going to cross over onto the side that we don't want to be on. I'm going to go through the middle here with my hook, and I'm going to grab a band or 2, and I'm going to be careful not to grab my tie-off band. I'm going to pull one of the anchor bands through. So I have it on my hook. I'm going to try and untangle these so that I can evenly spread them around. I'm gently going to go through, and I hope you can see what I'm doing. Gently go through the bands at the bottom, and it doesn't matter about being too pedantic about where you're going. Go through, pull it through, and attach the other anchor band. And you're just going to do this all the way around. So pull your anchor band through the loop and through the other band that you have tied off with. Gently does it. You don't want it to be too tight. You don't want it to be too loose. Sort out where your anchor band is. That one was trying to escape. And I definitely think this is the hardest part of the whole thing. There we go. And you want it to sort of be centered. While you want it centered on its side, you also want it centered up and down as well. So put that through here. And then my last one is here. So I'll probably go through about, I don't think I've gone through anywhere here. So maybe go through here with this one. Again, join it in. And so I have that little leg attached. It's sort of stitched in. Now, taking it off, you're going to find where you started, which is about here. I'm going to go through, and I just sort of want to pick up the slack so that it's not going to be too loose. Gently tie a slip knot there, and that is one little leg attached, and you're just going to hide the tie-off band, poking your hook up, grab the end of it and pull it back through into the center of your figure. Alright, so that's how you do one. We have to do the same to the other one. I haven't put my anchor bands on, so let's do that. Alright, here we go. Let's see if we can do this. So again, you're going to marry it up so that it's sort of at the same spot, about here, and gently go through some of these bands that are on the bottom here. Okay, there's one. Let's try and find a spot for this one, maybe here. Come here, little band. Take your time doing this because you don't want to rush. If you mess it up, you have to sort of do it all again, which is a pain. Put that one there. My next anchor band is here, so I'm going to try and find a spot under here for that one. There we are. Pull that one through. Maybe about here for my next one. One over the other, pull it through. I'm back at the beginning. I'm going to go through where I started with my band, find a spot to tie off with. Looks good to me. Tie it in a slip knot and go through and hide a multitude of sins under his little jacket. So there we have our little bear with his legs attached. We're going to do his hat and his briefcase in a separate tutorial. So I hope you're not going too balmy trying to do his legs. It is tricky, I know. But remember, nobody's going to see what's up there. Well, they shouldn't be. All right.